women with the menno belly. I never heard of that. And that the belly fat was actually there for a reason. So now I can do a snuggle-buggy with my little belly jelly.
We don't have to hate on it so much.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't need that liposuction now.
No, we need that. We need a little extra estrogen. We need that belly fat.
Yeah, menno belly.
Welcome to Functional Medicine Coaching Moms podcast, where simplifying healthy lifestyle change for moms is the only goal.
Hi, welcome to our final episode of season 1 of Functional Moms podcast. We are finishing up our recap of all the ways we've learned to simplify healthy lifestyle change.
As functional medicine certified health coaches and behavior change specialists, we are always looking for ways to simplify wellness. Our amazing guests have given us so many success secrets.
Yes, they have. So, Kristin, where shall we start today?
Today, we are going to start with aging strong. We've had so many great guests in this category, and it's so important for us as mid-aged moms wanting to look our best.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with episode 18. We had Secrets to Aging Well, Midlife and Beyond with Dr. Sandra Scheinbaum. And Sandra is the founder of Functional Medicine Coaching Academy, where we both met, and how this podcast came to be. And there were so many good takeaways. What was your favorite? What do you think?
Yeah, well, the first thing I want to say is that she is the poster child of aging strong in so many ways, and getting to know her like better and doing a little research behind the scenes. Really, like, she is just an inspiration and something that, you know, I'm not as afraid about my aging days ahead of me because of her. One of my biggest takeaways, there were two, but the first one really was the fact that she was a super accomplished doctor in her field, and at a space where most people were retiring, she turned around and co-founded an academy.
Yeah, I know. That is shocking. Most people would just be like, and she even said her husband was like, why don't you just retire?
Yeah. He's like,
It's
what are you
amazing.
doing? Yeah. So that was like, to me, that was the number one thing, because I also think that it's part of the secret sauce, you know, that's why she has that energy. Like, even when we were at AIC, I mean, she is just like the energy that she has, and she's like a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
and she just has this amazing growth mindset, right? Like,
Yes.
she's not stuck. She's not afraid to like keep trying new things. And that's my other takeaway, was even with her wellness, regimen, like she changed from being really focused on cardio to more strength training. She was a vegetarian at one point. Now she eats protein and meat, and even would order a steak in a restaurant. I remember she said.
Yeah, I remember
so
her
she's not
saying,
afraid of change.
yeah, absolutely. And then the fact that she does 100 push-ups a day. So I was like, okay, challenge is on. I did it a couple of times, and she doesn't do it in one sitting. She does it throughout the day. So that was really great. And now she's also doing 100 squats a day. She's working on her squats. So she just all around, you just think about, she talked all the things that she's doing. She's a part of her community, trying new things, that growth mindset, exercise, challenging herself. She hired a trainer. She's taking it to the next level,
Yeah.
And
Total
she's
inspiration for anyone. I mean, and because she's in her 70s. So yeah, like if you're it makes me think like, man, if you're in your 40s or 50s, you've no excuses. You can do this. Like, it's okay.
Right. Absolutely. That. And then also for me, honestly, Kristin, it's like, I'm 57, right? And just think back, when I was like when I was a teenager, like 57, I thought I was going to be on a rocking chair or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. But here Sandy is in her 70s. And I think to myself, well, 77, that's 20 years for me.
Yeah.
That's in 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not so afraid anymore.
Yeah. And it's 30 for me. So yeah.
Because of someone like Sandy. So thank you, Sandy.
Yeah, that was such an excellent one. And so what do we have next then?
Episode 20. This was with Cathy Kim, and about the foam rolling on the thighs. The secret to our youth is in our thighs.
My takeaway on that is I definitely need to be foam rolling my thighs. I will admit that I haven't done that since watching the episode, and I was doing a leg workout today, and I noticed noticed that my thighs felt stiff. Like I haven't done a good leg workout in a while. And I was like, wow, I need to be foam rolling my thighs. And it just was such a connection for her to say that the thigh muscle is so important because it literally is like how you're getting up and down. It's your mobility, right, at its best. So we really need to focus on that. And it's a secret to aging well.
Yeah. And I've actually, because of that episode, on my end, I actually started foam rolling more because I have been experiencing some tightness and low back pain. And I was like, for me, the aha moment was when she talked about the fascia and she explained it. Like I've known about the fascia and I've known about foam rolling, but she brought it to another level when she explained it and she talked about like the chicken breast and the little,
it's like that
and
white part that
yeah,
covers.
that clear part. And but
Yeah.
she said that what the biggest discovery that they've just made in the recent years is that it's an organ on its own. It has its own like blood circulation, it has its own thing going on. And so sometimes you might think that you have, you know, tight calves or tight this or tight that, but it could be that your fascia itself is tight.
It's stiffening. Yeah.
It's stiffening. And so as a result of that, everything else suffers that it's holding on to.
Yeah. Everything's connected. Right.
And when she said that, I immediately thought, I got to get foam rolling because that's probably going to help all of these things that I've been feeling. And guess what? It did. It helped so much.
Wow. I'm going to get on that. The other thing that was amazing is how she said getting up from a chair, often I know I would push off with my toes. Like I would not be doing it the proper way. How she said you should be doing it like you would do a squat at the gym. Like you're in your heels.
Yeah, you're not even being mindful because you're just getting up off the chair to do something to get to where you are, to where you want to go. And what was really great was when she said, I don't care what type of like posture guru you are or whatever. She was just like a posture. She's like, you are getting up this way. She's like, not everybody's like paying attention, but you want to get up and you want to focus on your heels. And that was the other thing, now that you mentioned that has really helped me, because it just made me aware of how many times I am getting up, you know, and putting the pressure on my toes, which goes into my patella, and it's just like throwing me all out of whack. And also when I'm bending over to pick something up.
Ah, good point. Yeah.
I now am going into a squat position to pick something up off the ground and just using my core muscles and paying attention.
We've just become so disconnected. Like we used to be a squatting society completely, right? And now like as older people are like, oh, I could never squat. Well, we should be able to keep being able to do it. So she made a good point.
Yeah. And the thing is that was one of the key points. If you watch that show on Netflix, the Blue Zone, oh my gosh, you have to see it. He talks about how those people can still squat, you know, especially like in Japan. He was looking at the blue zones in Japan and all their stuff is on, like their mats are on the ground. They have to squat down. They have to squat up. And I'm like, wow. He's like, yeah, we've lost that positioning. When you don't, you lose it. And so that was very, very key. Yes.
That was so great.
That was very great episode. And she was lovely. She was very funny too. So what's next?
Next, we are going to another category of weight loss. And we had an excellent episode. It was number 19 with Linnea Offerman. And she was talking about food addiction and her personal story of how she overcame that through a program called Bright Line Eating that just seems like an amazing program for people.
Yeah. And we have a friend that Linda was a part of that.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to let you take this one over because I know that you took the test that she had offered our listeners.
I was good on this and I took the action step, and she had given us a quiz that we could do that was through brightlineeating.com, and it will tell you how susceptible you are to having an issue with either overeating or emotional eating. And I scored very high, and I was surprised. I didn't think that I would have scored that high. I was a 7, so it's like on a scale of 1 to 10. So that was fairly high, and I found that, you know, to be a little bit surprising. And then after that, I had done this test with this company called the DNA Company, because my mom actually had discovered that she has the gene for diabetes. And so she wanted myself and my sister, to take it to see if maybe we have it too. And on that test, it came back that I have a gene that makes me more susceptible to emotional eating, which I thought was shocking. I didn't even know that was such a thing. So this whole experience kind of was like a wow, like I had a big aha moment, and kind of just gives me a little bit of comfort knowing that it's not just maybe my poor willpower or this or that. It's something that
it's not like you're weak. You're not weak.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So it's something that I just, have to keep an eye on and be careful. And I've found in my own experience, even when I've done things like elimination diet and things, I notice like when I'm not on that, I sometimes do like stress eat or emotional eat and things like that. So it was a really eye-opening episode. And I think it's really helpful for people.
Yeah, you were able to connect the dots for yourself. And it kind of brings me back to what is that woman's name again? The Australian woman, Barbara O'Neill, when she's talked again about the genetics, load the gun, but lifestyle choices pull the trigger. The root
Divine.
cause.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You're getting to the root cause instead of always just thinking, oh, I have poor willpower or, oh, something's, things
Right.
like that
I'm
you're kind
not
of putting
that
yourself down.
great.
Yeah. So that was great. So moving on, we had episode 22 was functional medicine and weight loss for women with Karin Reiter. And
Yes.
what was
Yes.
that was a really great one because weight gain in your 40s and 50s, late 30s can be really tough for people.
Yeah.
So what did you think?
My aha moment was how women with the menno belly, I never heard of that, and that the belly fat was actually there for a reason. So now I can do a snuggle-buggy with my little belly jelly.
We don't have to hate on it so much.
Yeah. I
Yep.
don't need that liposuction now.
No, we need that. We need a little extra estrogen. We need that belly fat.
Yeah, menno belly. So I never knew that was a thing. That
No.
was something that I learned for the first time. I didn't know about the belly fat because of the declining estrogen. I had no idea about that. So that was really informative. And again, so you're not, like you said, hating on yourself. Like now you're like, oh, that's why I have this little, what do they call it? The muffin? They call it a little.
Yeah, some people call it muffin top or
Yeah,
But it
muffin
was
top.
interesting that she was saying that's actually a different kind of fat. Like it's a fat that's there to secrete the estrogen to help you, which because estrogen is protective. So
Yes.
it's very
Yes.
interesting. Yeah. And then also I liked how she highlighted the high protein diet, how they looked at different options.
Oh, yeah, they did that study. Yes.
Yeah, and hands down, high protein was the way to go. And then, of course, combining that with the strength training because we need to just maintain that muscle mass as much as we can.
Yeah. And, that within itself is just like on a nutshell. I feel that's been very consistent with all our episodes that, down the line, it's like protein, high protein diet, weight training, that those have been some big staple marks here. And, and having that growth mindset. So next here is episode 17. So actually we're going to a new category now, functional medicine and health coaching. And, so with episode number 17, it's changing healthcare through community with James Maskell.
Yeah, that was such an informative episode. James really gave us like a background kind of on functional medicine and how it's becoming more and more evolved and how we can bring access to it to more people with the group model. Because I had never really heard of group medical visit before talking with James and reading a little bit about from his book and all that. And that was really helpful, I think.
Yes, I actually didn't really understand the model until he came on our episode. Like I was still kind of confused about it. And I just love the way he explained it and how he even said, he's like, listen, like for the most part, I'm very healthy. I don't smoke. I live a healthy lifestyle. So I don't want to pay into this healthcare insurance that's, for all this other.
Yeah, I had the aha moment that we're paying for health insurance and if you're basically paying for everybody else's prescription drug use, which I never really thought of it that way. And I was like, oh, wow, like that's what we're paying for.
Yes. And I'm so glad that, do you hear my dog in the background? No? Okay. But anyway, I'm glad that he talked about that because I actually have to confess, I haven't been proactive on it, but that's why I love that we're doing this whole recap because that's definitely on my to-do list. I really want to look into that, like community health insurance thing.
Yeah. And I think also it's so great that he, really like we want to like goals too, is we want to see functional medicine and conventional medicine start to merge. I hear your dog now.
Sorry.
And so, that's so important for us. So I think that it was really inspiring to hear what he's doing on the other end of it, like helping practitioners get into being able to make a business out of functional medicine and all that, and that we can reach more people through functional medicine health coaching is huge. So moving on to episode 14, we had functional medicine health coaching, the missing link to living your best life. And that was with Elyse Wagner, who is also one of the founders of Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. And in this one, she shared a lot. It was a really great one. What was your biggest takeaway on that?
I think that my first takeaway, the first thing that comes to mind when I think about that episode is how she had a mother who I feel was her mother, but was like a functional medicine health coach. She was able to talk to her mother as a young girl herself about what she felt was not working for her and how she felt. And her mother was like, like had that open conversation, and Elyse was able to try this. Well, that didn't work. All right, well, I'm going to try, and just didn't have the all or nothing mindset.
Yeah, I mean, that could have went two ways. It could have went very badly for her. Like if they
Right.
had made too many changes too quickly or not let Elise take control of it, it really went well the way they handled that. And it's an example of health coaching just at a very early stages.
Exactly. And I found that so interesting that the root, like the foundation that, Elyse was blessed to have. And then she grows up into this woman who ends up, being the co-founder of the Functional Medicine Health Coaching Academy.
I know. Yeah. And then the other thing I really liked, that my takeaway was that Elise said, just start small, take 1 minute a day and read like a page, or do a yoga pose for 1 minute, take deep breaths for like all these things that you can just start really tiny, and it'll just fill you up and make you feel better.
Yeah. She's
just
like,
such a great tip.
I know. And I think she made it like a thing. She's like, you don't have to read a chapter. You don't have to. She's like, read a sentence.
Yeah. You could even go that exactly. Make it easy.
Yes, make it easy. And that goes along with our 5-minute workout theory and that whole thing that we did for the 5-day challenge, 5-minute workout. Yeah, starting small, like reading for 1 minute, deep breathing, yoga, and all that stuff. That was such great tips. That was really great. I loved how I got emotional. That was, I think, one of the most emotional episodes that we've had. And I just love how she allowed her vulnerability, and she was just so candid with us. And it was just, I love that episode. Very inspiring.
And then following up on that, we had Elise's mother on the
Yes. Yes.
which
episode number
cool.
21.
Yeah, it was like super cool to have the whole like kind of full circle story. And her name is Ginny Wagner, the mom.
Yeah.
And what did you think of her episode?
What I thought about her episode was how she talked a lot about her own, because she's also a health coach herself, like through her daughter's school, and she runs groups. And what I was interesting to me was how she really focuses on the character strengths.
Yes, I think we learned a lot in that one about the character strengths and how we can use them. Yeah.
And to me, what I found, it's like, I was like, oh my gosh, I thought it was so interesting how she focused on the character strengths for her group sessions with, with her clients. But, when you look at the whole picture, that's what she focused on with her daughter.
Yeah, she really did. She was always focusing on the positive, like the things that are going well, what's right with you.
Yes, focusing on what was right, at least then having the confidence. And I think it was just like a whole trickle down effect. And now with her own granddaughter, when she tells the story, how her granddaughter she had a presentation to do in front of the class or in an assembly or something. And she really was practicing, had her props, did everything. And she went up there and she froze.
Yeah.
And, Ginny was like, you know what I'm going to tell her when I go home? When I see her, I think her granddaughter was coming over, and she's like, I'm just going to tell her, you were so brave. You were using your character strength of bravery to go up there. And I just thought, like, wow, she's still doing it.
Yeah.
She's still doing it
for her granddaughter. I know. That is such an amazing thing. And for anyone that wants to check that out, we can put the character strength survey in the notes on this episode too, for people to check it out, because it's the VIA character strengths and you can learn about all of them. And it's just so helpful to boost your kids' confidence, boost your own confidence.
Yeah, I do want to say that, interestingly enough, because when you just said that, it just made me think that talking to my son, who's a freshman in college, and after my conversation with him, I thought I have to send him the link to the character strengths.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. It's great. I've had 2 of my kids take it, and I would actually like them to redo it. It's been a little while. So
yeah, and it changes depending on the season of your life.
It's true.
Yeah. Okay. So we are into our next category. I think this is our next and final category, and it's the mindset hacks.
Yes. Okay. Good one.
And I'm going to be very bold to say this. This is episode number 3. And when I was reviewing like all of our episodes so that we can do this recap, I have to say that I could not stop watching this episode. I actually I was just like, I was all in on this episode. And I was like, wow, this was like one of my favorite episodes.
How come it was your favorite?
So we didn't have a guest. This was just you and I. And this was the how all all or nothing thinking sabotages your life.
Okay.
So it's the all or nothing mindset and how that sabotages your life. It's like how you get stuck.
Yeah, for sure.
Just having this conversation again with my son, who's a freshman in college, and he's just learning the ways of the world over there. But I loved how we had 5 topics and we just did a nosedive on all those. Like, we talked about fitness, we talked about hacking tips for fitness, home cooking, meals, organization, meditation, and how we gave such great examples on how you get stuck with the all or nothing mindset in each category. And we also talked about how to overcome, and how to get back to the place where you want to be.
Right.
And
yeah, I think it's such a foundational thing, even for Functional Moms podcast. I think that's one of our core values because we realize how often we get stuck. And truly, like, the all or nothing thinking is like perfectionism at its worst, that you think that, it has to keep doing it perfectly. You mess up one day, throw in the towel, forget it,
yes.
It's just so dramatic, and change is not like that. It's not linear. It's up and down. It's, it's not going to be consistent like that.
You're on the mountain, you're in the valley.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a traveling situation and you never arrive.
Yeah, right.
And once you arrive, it's like the next, it's just natural.
true.
It's the next thing. And the other thing, it's like, you were doing something and then, like, let's say you were working out consistently and then you don't work out consistently like the following week. And then you're like, oh, that's it, and then you think like, oh, I have to start all over again. But you're not starting all over again. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, you're starting all over again every time you wake up, you open your eyes in the morning.
I guess so. Yeah, you're right. It's a new day.
Yeah, it's a new day. It's like, it's not like all those, like, it was like not for naught or it was like such a waste of time. But I just love how we really went through each category. We did a lot of troubleshooting in that.
Well, and then this
area.
has been something that we've really been practicing. Like when we did the 5-minute, 5-day workout challenge, that was a prime example of that. Like, that 5 minutes does count, that you can get a lot done in 5 minutes.
Yes.
We were blown away that like you could get like 60 squats done and, whatever. I can't even remember, but
it was
when
40.
I added it all up, it was 40.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I added it all up, I was shocked how much I got done.
Yeah. We, in 5 minutes, when we did that challenge, it was the first day challenge. And then we were talking about it and we were like, we did the squats, bicycle crunches and the push-ups.
Yeah.
And
right.
we were like 5 minutes. I'm like, yeah, how many did we do? And then you're like, well, I did 10 of each. And I'm like, yeah, but you did 10 how many times?
Yes. See, I wasn't even thinking of it that way. I just kept thinking 10, but no, like times that by 4 rounds. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you're running the clock. Yep. That was really cool. And then you did that really cool reel where you showed you reorganized your cupboard in 5 minutes.
In 5 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, because, you think, oh, I don't have like an hour to go through these cabinets or an afternoon even to clean out all this stuff. I've got 3 kids. Things are crazy. There's always, I feel like, mess around. And so, just chunking it down to 5 minutes, you can get so much done. And so I do apply that strategy. It can't be the all or nothing where it's either all a mess or all perfect because I spent the whole day cleaning. Like, it's just not possible.
Yeah. So I really, really loved that episode. And
I guess that takes us to the end here, huh? Well, we just want to say we're so thankful for you being with us through season 1. We so appreciate your support as we embarked on this journey. And it's not easy putting yourself out there at all, but we believe in functional medicine so much. And we do believe behavior change is possible and that health coaching is just, helps people try to do their best and make it easier for everybody out there. So we want to make it simpler and we want to live our best lives.
Yes, we would also love to hear from you. Please tell us topics that you care about or if you'd like to come on the show and share. We love having experts in their fields, but we are also loving to have some moms sharing their success stories too. The number one thing that you can do, by the way, to support us is to subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and or Spotify. And I just want to say, yeah, that'll help us, help the community. Like, in order for us to make the magic happen, we need your support, and you can give us that support by subscribing. And just want to say, that in light of what you were saying before, Kristin, that health coaching is the thing that you never knew you needed. And I learned that because I never had so much health coaching until I was a student at the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. And that was part of the process of learning how to become a health coach is you got to get coached and you coach others. And I was like, wow, I need to have a health coach like all my life. life. Like
I know. It's so great.
it
It's
really
you just there's
such
no
a
one
game
that gives you
changer.
that support, and you think you're just going to fix your nutrition or your exercise regimen or something like that, but it's so much more than that. Like it taps into your limiting beliefs that you have about yourself, and like, things that are holding you back that you don't even realize. So it's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, it is. And behavioral change is possible for the things that you want for yourself. It's so possible. And that is the role that a functional medicine health coach takes, is being the guide and being your cheerleader and being your go-to person, assuring that you get from where you are to where you want to be. And so I just want to thank all those functional medicine health coaches out there making days brighter for
For so
the
many
people they
people.
serve. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. And we're going to see you in next season, season 2.
Yes, I can't wait. Let's
All
go.
right. Let's go.
Woo!
The information provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended for the purpose of diagnosing, curing, treating, or preventing any disease. We are functional medicine certified health coaches and not licensed medical professionals. The opinions and advice of guests are their own and also not considered to be medical advice. Always consult with a healthcare professional when making any healthy lifestyle changes. We would love to hear from our mom community. Any wellness topics that are high on your list, please DM us at Functional Medicine Coaching Moms. We can also be reached via email at info@functionalmedicinecoachingmoms.com. You can find Functional Medicine Coaching Moms podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the subscribe button.